Ahoy there folks, I'm Captain Benzie and welcome to another developer Q&A video for Eve Echoes. Each week the developers take 4 questions posed by you, the community. They post the responses to those questions to the official Eve Echoes Twitter account, Facebook page, and somewhere in-game inside your ship's AI. I could never really remember how to get there. Each week I go through these 4 questions and answers and I add my own personal thoughts and opinions with additional information perhaps given by previous dev Q&As or questions and answers that I've had with the devs directly myself, just to give a kind of opinion of what this would be for the game going forward, whether it's a good idea in my opinion, a bad idea, whether I agree with the developers, whether I agree with the community. It's just a thought and opinion piece, and on the topic of thoughts and opinions, I would love to hear yours in the comment section down below. More on why in just a moment. If you have a question you would like the developers to answer, then make sure you head to the description of this video. There is a link to a Google document. You can ask questions, and if you are one of the questions chosen to be answered, not only do you get your question answered, not only do you get featured in my video, you'll also win a month of basic Omega. Now also, if you are commenting on my videos, or if you're in the Catskull Discord in the public channels talking there, every single week I pick one person from YouTube from the comment section of that week, and 2 people from my public Discord channels to each win 1 month of Combo Omega. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning those, make sure you're commenting on my videos and you're in my Discord, talking and helping and answering questions, sharing screenshots, stuff like that. Good luck to you all. Anyway, with all that said and done then, let's jump straight into this week's developer Q&A, which is for the week of the 18th to 24th of May. Let's have a look then. Question number 1. The corporation is a very good feature, thanks for adding it. I'm assuming they mean corporation missions here, which of course were added fairly recently, but I cannot find a place to place a single buy order for 2 different citadels. Can you guys add this too? That would help us a lot. Okay. Impixie then says, thank you for your feedback, but there are currently no plans to add this feature. Adding 2 buy orders at different locations could perhaps solve your problem, which it sort of does. I kind of see both sides here at first, in that on one hand, if you have a buy order set for 2 different stations, then someone can fulfill 1 order at 2 different places, whereas if you set up 2 buy orders and you only want 1 thing, there is the risk of both of them being fulfilled, which I can see could cause problems, especially if they are bigger, more expensive things, like if you're looking to do a buy order on, say, a Nightmare or a Macariel or a Nidhogger, for example. Fair point. However, ultimately, there's more to it than this, I think. Now, back before Eve Echoes launched, the developers during several of their roundtables and AMAs and question and answer sessions mentioned that they were keen on the concept of essentially players not only building citadels in nullsec, but possibly even setting up their own ITCs. Now, there's a part of me that thinks a full-blown ITC in your own nullsec might be a bit much. However, bear with me, what do you guys think of this concept? And this is not just my concept, I've heard other people talk about this as well before you think that Benzie's ripping people off. No, this is not something I've pulled out of my head. Imagine you've got all of your different corporation citadels, right? All anchored across whatever region of space you're in. You've got your corporation citadel, there are other corporation citadels for different corporations in your alliance, right? Now imagine if at the very centre of your region, connected to all of those different stations, you built another citadel. Then with a very expensive upgrade, you turned it into your local marketplace that was alliance-wide connected. It meant that everyone could fly to that one particular station and post buy orders and sell orders there. You could literally post any items that you wanted to sell in that station. Now this has 2 effects. On one hand, it means, well, 3 effects actually. It means that you can open up the entirety of what your alliance is buying and selling, and so you can prioritize selling to other people. And we kind of do this on Discord anyway, but Discord doesn't really have the interface for it to set this up properly. Having it in-game and being able to just browse what people local to you are actually selling. Like, what ships are people selling? Are you able to buy or sell any of these kind of things on the market? Oh, I could actually do with some modules. It would save me running all the way to G2 and I could just buy them from friends there. That could be really, really cool. In addition to this, you could then possibly even set these to be delivered to the individual corporation citadels. Now, I know that obviously they're not going to be far, and most people would be happy to just jump, but if you paid a little bit extra, you can have someone actually deliver it for you from that main system to from that main citadel, that main market citadel, to your own corporation citadel. Imagine you're just like logging off for the evening, so you kind of go, cool, I'll put this kind of stuff up there, I'd like to buy these, and if someone does sell them, please also deliver them to my to my citadel. That could be really, really cool. It also means in warfare, you don't just have all these outlying citadels that are just, you know, home bases. You have this big centralized one that would probably be something like a keep star, some big, cool, unique looking graphic, that basically is the absolute hub and nexus of your alliance that you are going to defend with your dying breath, basically. And of course, that is going to be the subject for main attacks. So you would want ways to defend the in routes and out routes from that, right? I don't know, to me that would just be a really cool system. I do think it shouldn't be a corporation market, but an alliance market, because selling within your own corporation is kind of limited, and at this stage I think selling with an alliance is more where that should be going. That's my thoughts and opinions. I'd love to know what you guys think on that little idea. I could probably do an entire video on the costs and negatives of that, because there are negatives. Ultimately, having these kind of things is going to affect trade in the major trade centers. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is kind of up for you to decide, but I don't want to pretend that, oh, it's absolutely perfect. It has its difficulties. I'd just love to know what you guys think. Question 2. Currently, there's no method of trading rigged ships for rigged ships without being scammed? Really? There's no method of trading rigged ships for rigged ships without being scammed? Because I'll be completely honest, I've traded several rigged ships for other rigged ships, and I'm sure that I didn't scam them, and I'm pretty sure they didn't scam me either. So I think you could possibly do this by just trying not to be scammed. Like if someone says to you, have a look at the buy orders, and if someone says, oh, you know, contract me this first, then I'll contract you something after, that's probably a scam, because you're literally handing over the keys to your house or your car or whatever, and then just hoping that they hand you the keys to theirs back and that they don't just jump in yours and drive off, sort of thing. Ultimately, yeah, this is someone who got scammed and they're like, the game needs fixing, rather than, no, you just need to not be scammed. You can set up contracts. I don't know if they're going to mention this in the rest of this, but you can set up contracts where you decide what you're trading for. So you can say, I am trading this ship, and you put the ship in with all its rigs and fittings and all that, and you can list the ship that you want in return, and you can list the fittings and the modules and things like that players can then do that with, so that you don't get scammed, or just contract with people you trust. Like, do it in your alliance, right? Where if someone screws up and tries to screw you, you can just go to your HR department or whatever and say, hey, here are the screenshots that he agreed to send me this ship once I'd sent him that. Here's the screenshot that proves that I have sent him the ship that he wanted, and here's the screenshots proving he has not sent me the return, and watch them sort it out. There are ways. There are definitely ways. So there's no method of trading. Yes, there is. Anyway, let's continue with the actual question, shall we? Are there plans to set up a system in which a player can create a public contract accepting trades? Players can submit offers while the contractor can decide to accept or reject. Okay, fair enough. That's actually a really cool idea, and it kind of plays into the first one a little bit, but okay, let's see. Contract trading is not available for an assembled ship because it has non-tradable items in its modules, rigs, nanocores, cargo hold, such as purple nanocores. Because this mechanic involves the circulation of non-tradable items, we have no plans to change it. Thank you for your understanding, answers Lancelot. Now, I get where they're coming from here, that yes, absolutely, you shouldn't be able to trade things that are untradeable, but setting up a system that allows the trading of actual tradable things does make sense, right? Surely you could set it up so that you can only trade a ship if it doesn't have a purple nanocore, if it hasn't got a hull repairer fixed, if all the untradable stuff is not on the ship, well, then it should be tradable. And I do kind of think this would be quite cool. Niche, I think. Niche, admittedly. I think most players would just happily sell a ship for ISK and then use that ISK to buy the new ship. I get that there's the certain thing of, oh yeah, but when I do it with ISK, I lose a certain amount in translation, and therefore I lose ISK when buying and selling this way. I'd rather trade my fully rigged ship, fitted and rigged ship, for their fully rigged and fitted ship. But I also kind of see that as a niche thing, you know? I think that if you want to do that, that should probably be done within the safety of an alliance or corporation where getting scammed is minimal and the repercussions for someone scamming you are pretty high, rather than necessarily adding an entirely new system. I'm on the fence on this one, because I do disagree with Landstar. He goes on about all this untradable stuff. We're not talking about trading untradables. We're talking about trading tradables for tradables. Like, I give you a Typhoon with all the rigs, and they're all Mark III rigs. They're not the prototype rigs. They're Mark III rigs, and it's all C-type Meta 8 fittings or whatever, and I want your ship, like the Raven or whatever, again, with all Meta level 8 and C-types and no prototypes, nothing untradable on it. Why can't I set that up? And I get that. I get that that could be a cool system, but I also see it's pretty complex, and I'd say that's pretty niche as well. There are ways around it. I'd like to see it added, I think. I'd say I'd like to see it added, just I think that's a lot of work for something that's not going to have much use early on. Again, maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comment section down below. You guys like to let me know when I'm wrong in the comment section, and I'm all for it. I'm not always right. I do like to know when I'm wrong so that I can correct myself for future. Anyway, question number 3. Is the Rorqual the only mining ship that will have mining drones, or will certain ships like the Covetor 2 be able to use them? Now, hopefully you've already know the answer to this question because this all came out this week, but 2 new drones with mining capabilities have been added. Exhumer and the Heavy Mining Drone. Actually, you're kind of lying a little bit there, Cloud. It's 4 drones. There are 2 types of exhumers. There are exhumers and heavy exhumers. There are mining drones and heavy mining drones. Exhumers are only available to the Rorqual. Mining drones and heavy mining drones are large drones. Excuse me, they are large drones, so you can actually launch them from a Dominix if you want, or a Rattlesnake. Or you can launch them from the Orca, which has large drone tubes. You cannot launch it, however, from the Covetor 2 because it's medium tube, but let's see what he says. The former is dedicated to the capital ship, the Exhumer, and currently only the Rorqual can use it, yes. The latter are normal drones that can be used by any ship with a large drone launch tube, as I just said. It's worth noting that the Covetor 2 has a medium drone launch tube, so heavy mining drones can't be used on it. Neither can standard mining drones. Please don't get confused here. Mining drones and heavy mining drones are both large drones. They can only be used by the Orca. Slightly disappointing, I guess, because they did tease that during the AMA, the industrial AMA, that actually the Covetor 2 would be able to use mining drones. Clearly they've backtracked on that. I also understand why, because the Covetor and the Orca are pretty close to each other in regards to their mining capabilities. If you gave the Covetor 2 the mining drones as well, all it's going to do is just improve the Covetor even more. It doesn't need it. It genuinely doesn't need it. Ultimately, you kind of want to keep the Covetor with a standard combat drone. That way, if anything jumps you, then the Orca or the Rorqual, using its bonuses, can actually improve the capabilities. I think it's the Rorqual actually, can actually improve the drone capabilities of friendly ships as well. So all those Covetor 2s with their medium drones are suddenly doing a scary amount of damage. So I think it's worth just kind of saying to yourself, the Orca uses mining drones. That's what it does. It doesn't use strip miners, it uses mining drones. That's what it has bonuses for. Mining drones are part of the Orca, Exhumer mining drones are part of the Rorqual, and if you just stick to that in your head, you should get the basics of it. Now, I think that's the best way for it. I don't think the Covetor 2 needed mining drones. I don't think it needs mining drones. I think mining is going to be in a bad enough position as it is due to the server-wide increase to mining yield. Wait a second, Benzie, what server-wide increase to mining yield? Well, other than the fact that they made the fields bigger and have richer ores in them now, on top of that, previously, Tech 7 and Tech 8 players were all flying Retrievers. Only when you hit Tech 9 were you flying the Procurer. Now, Tech Level 8 players are no longer flying Retrievers, they are now flying Procurers, which means their yield has gone up. And the folks who were flying Procurers at Tech Level 9 are now able to fly Covetors, which means their yield has gone up. And a Covetor, compared to a Covetor 2, is 30% of the cost for 80% of the mining efficiency. That is a big increase to Tech Level 9 yield. Tech Level 10 stays pretty much the same, but we now also have the Orca and the Rorqual, which are going to increase mining yields overall as well. Basically, if you were to imagine how much ore was being harvested per second across the entirety of the server, every single system in the game, that has just had a massive buff to it. There is now a lot more ore coming in just because people have all now got faster mining ships than they did before the balance patch. I'm still interested to see where this goes, because admittedly the Orca and the Rorqual do require a considerable amount of ore. The trouble is, once they've got those, and once you've built a couple of Orcas and Rorquals, they are going to be massively buffing the amount of ores that you can yield. Once you've built the first one, it becomes significantly easier to build the second, third, fourth, and every time you build another Orca or a Rorqual, it makes it easier to build the next one, and that is exponential. That is dangerous, and we need to keep a close eye on it. Anyway, moving on to question 4. Can you add a quality of life improvement for the contracts button by adding a little red icon next to it when you have a pending contract? Same thing as when you have a pending event or nanocore Concord pass info. Sometimes you miss the initial notification when you log in. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely 100% agree with this. Mike and Reagan apparently do too. Thanks for your suggestion. We will add these two features in future optimization plans. Hell yes. That is awesome. Give us this kind of stuff. It's a simple, I assume fairly simple quality of life change. It's just a visual notification, and I really like that. Now, the little red button has a bit of EVE history, in fairness. When EVE Online first added the red notification dot to the what they call the Neocom, which is like the main menu in the game when you're logged in, the big bar down the left-hand side. When they added that red dot, and every time something new happens, that red dot appears and you have to clear it, a lot of people were like, oh my god, like OCD kicks in, and you know, that whole I need to clear that notification. I got told off earlier because I posted a screenshot of my character page and I've got like 631 undeleted messages in my main character, and people are like, how do you do that? It's like, I've read them, I just haven't deleted them. And it's the same here. When it comes to the red dot, I like these things because it shows me that I have notifications. If you've ever seen my Discord, though, you know I sit on hundreds of red dots constantly. Like, they're hard for me to get rid of, and ultimately I don't bother anymore. But having a red dot to let me know that I have a contract that I've missed, hell yes. I have sat and let contracts expire, and then people have gone, and Benzie, why didn't you accept? And I'm like, I didn't even know I had it. I missed your Discord message alerting me, and I missed the in-game message alerting me. So having that red dot in-game, yeah, that would be huge to me. That would really, really help. But that's just me. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Would you be happy to have another red dot on the game that you have to tap and get rid of, or is it something you think would be really beneficial for you? Let me know in the comments. And there we go. There are your 4 questions for this week. Now, every single week, I have one of these pictures at the front. The picture I use for the opening and for the thumbnail usually has some kind of tenuous link attached to it, where it's like, ooh, I see, you know, we're talking about mining ships, so here's a picture of a procurer, or we're talking about, you know, various different little things, and I try and link it in with that. This week, the Velators here flying over the Nyx, no connection. I just thought it was a really cool picture. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching this one right the way through to the end. Happy sailing, and see you in New Eden.